So good morning. It is 10:02, and I will call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of Denton County Transportation Authority. The first item is our invocation, and our alternate Pat Smith.
Right.
Eric will lead us on our invocation.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather together. Thank you for the men and women of the DCTA team under the leadership of Paul, and just for the blessing that they are to the community, to the board. Thank you for the men and women who convene every month to provide wisdom and insight, help us to do what's best for Denton County, for the residents, for our growing communities that create great opportunities, but also challenges. Thank you for the opportunity we have to serve in your kingdom, for your love for us. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And now, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag. Honoring the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
I know.
Okay, under introductions, I want to just note that we have Paul Stevens is sitting as our alternate for regular secretary Diane Costas, and that's all the only introduction I have. Paul, do you have any introductions from your side?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to take the podium, and we will be introducing 6 new staff members who have joined DCTA since the last board meeting. So I'll let, as I head my way up there, I'll let David Magana start.
Outstanding.
Good morning.
Morning, David.
I feel like I'm leading a parade up here, and I am. I am pleased to introduce 2 new members of the Marketing and Communications Department for you this morning, starting with Brianna Ferguson. She is our Marketing Business Development Specialist, just started with us this week. Brianna will be handling our advertising revenue program and advertising where we place ads out in the community. She'll also be handling discount pass programs such as employee passes and social service agency passes and those kinds of things. So we're very pleased to have her on the team. She's from Missouri, attended Northwest Missouri State, and has recently had experience that she brings to us from Thomson Reuters and Pepsi and Case Strategies. So we're very happy to have Brianna. Marketing specialist joined us 3 weeks ago. His name is Trayvon Williams, and he is going to be handling our website and planning with us the web redesign that we have planned for 2025, along with branding, graphic design, and a lot of things that make DCTA look a little bit better. So we'll be working with him very closely across the board on collateral and all kinds of things. Trayvon is a graduate of University of North Texas, hails from Portland, Oregon, went to Duncanville High School, played football, and has experience that he brings from U.S. Bowling Congress and Agency Habitat and the Coppell Arts Center. So we're very happy to have him on. Maurice Bell as the next set of introductions.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure. Greetings, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing 2 members of my team. First one is Miss Dawn Jones, excuse me. Miss Jones, I'm thinking I'm already there. So they know this is the reason why they're laughing is Miss Jones was hired to help us out. She is our new senior administrative specialist, and she's going to be helping us out from an operations point of view, but she's also here to back up Miss Perkins. Okay, so that's the joke here and why I called her Perkins. But she comes to us with a strong 12-year career with Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD, where she served as the administrative specialist over at Ranch View High School. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she's also has a background in financial services, as well as being an owner and an operator of a family restaurant. And so she knows hospitality real well. So we're really excited to have her. Please welcome her. The next one is Mr. Thompson, Mr. Kevin Thompson. He has been hired on as our new Senior Manager of Mobility Services and Demand Response. Mr. Thompson comes to us from Steamboat Springs, Colorado, where he was the Supervisor and Manager of Transit Services. He's got a long career in public transportation where he started off as an operator, worked his way up as to being an operations supervisor and manager. And so we're real glad to have him. He's going to be managing everything I'm about to be talking about later on in today's board meeting. So welcome, Mr. Thompson, aboard. Please.
And then I also have the pleasure of introducing two people. First, Mr. Steve Swanberg is our new Senior Manager of Transit Safety and Security. Steve began his career in the United States Marine Corps and served on active duty for 4 years, and then worked for about 23 years at DFW Airport as an airport safety specialist between the airport and the airlines. And then most recently comes to us from 11 years of experience from the North Texas Tollway Authority. Lots of experience writing plans, standing up new safety programs that are compliant with all the regulations that we have. And I'm super excited to have him. So thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
And then finally, Mr. Austin Frith. Austin Frith and Steve joined us on Monday. Austin also joined us on Monday as our new Vice President of Planning and Development. He has this extensive background in urban planning and design, and spent his last assignment for 13 years was at DFW Airport in increasing levels of responsibility in the planning and programming space for everything that happens at DFW Airport. So he will be the person leading our department as we think about future service planning, long-range service planning, all those sorts of things. We're really glad to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, great. Now, next is public comments. This agenda item provides an opportunity for citizens to address the DCTA Board of Directors on any item or items or other matters related to DCTA. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to address any items. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted. Citizens that are not able to participate in person must email his or her public comments to Ms. Keisha Morris Perkins at dca.net no later than 3 p.m. on Wednesday, September 27, 2023, to ensure the comments will be distributed to the board members prior to the meeting. The Board of Directors is not permitted to take any action on any subject raised by a speaker during the public comments. However, the DCTA Board of Directors may have the item placed on a future agenda for action. Refer the item to DCTA administration for the study or action, briefly state existing DCTA policy, or provide a brief statement of factual information in response to the inquiry. I have one card today from Christine Bray. Ms. Bray, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, y'all. As I said last time, really excited about the A-Train improvements. Just wanted to emphasize that again. 15-minute service and extended down to downtown Carrollton. Very exciting. One thing that I've talked about before that I would like to put before you again is the idea of bringing in a consultant to discuss the bus route network. I think that the bus route network has a lot of legacy components where it's just, it was that way and then it was added on, and then it was added on, and it was added on. And I think it would be good to reconsider the whole thing as a comprehensive network, especially sharing assets between UNT and the connect routes more comprehensively. It's my understanding that prior to COVID, there was discussion about bringing in Jarrett Walker and Associates, and I would like to suggest that that be considered again. Thank you for your time.
And that's all the items I have today under public comments. So anything else? No. Okay. No emails. Great. So with that, we will move on to consent agenda. We have 3 items on the consent agenda, and does anyone wish to have any of the items pulled for individual discussion? And I'll go ahead and read the three items under consent. Consider approval of an extension of the 11th amendment of the agreement for mobility service to River North Transit LLC, not to exceed the amount of $10,458,428.45. Item 2 is consider approval of July 2023 month financials. Item 3, consider approval of regular minutes dated August 24, 2023, and amended regular meeting minutes dated July 27, 2023. Board, is there any motion or discussion on the consent agenda?
Just a couple of quick items, Chair, if you don't mind. And I think this floats into the intermediate service plan a little bit. But I do want to see and talk about what we're considering as our key performance indicators and KPIs as we move forward. I don't know if we've taken any action to set those thresholds or re-look at them.
We have not taken any action to relook at them. The KPIs are set by contract based on ride demand, which around 120,000 ride requests a month. I think our KPI on wait time is 24.5 minutes and seat unavailability is 15%. And so we don't anticipate those changing this year. We always want to look at what is the ride demand and does that change? That's what triggers the different KPIs. If we want to reset the whole table, we can certainly have that conversation, but we have not made any adjustments to that.
Gotcha.
Under this
And
contract.
part of what's driving that question for me is, we've got two different types of service areas going on, and would it make sense that they have different KPIs because they've got a different mix of transit tools available to them? So worth conversation, I think, but it's nothing to disrupt this. It just seemed like that was the place to have the idea or the conversation.
Okay.
Yes, I'll move for approval. Got a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move over to the regular agenda. Our first item is to consider fiscal year 2024 election of board officers. So we normally make new officer nominations in the fall. And as I have completed 2 years as chair, I do not want to do this again. I enjoyed it, but
It's a sales job. If
it's
I've
a
ever heard
sales
one.
job. I have enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. I would like to nominate Mr. TJ Gilmore to be the next chair of the board of directors. Is there a second? We have a motion to have a second. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Hey. So I think when we look at the vice chair, we do have a little bit of a scheduling challenge, as Ms. Costa has told us that she is going to be moving off the board before too long. So I would hate to have a second election right after this. With that being said, Cesar, would you mind taking on the vice chair role? I'd like to nominate you for that.
I'll be happy to.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second.
All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And Chair, I'd like to nominate Judge Eads as secretary for this cycle.
I'll second that. All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So now you are now the chair. So.
Oh, no, that's next meeting. Wait a minute. Where's the fine print on this thing?
Okay.
This is why Joe bailed on us.
I'll be happy to run the rest of the meeting. Will this take effect at the next meeting? We could make it take effect at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Perfect. That
Let's
makes
do
it
that.
clean.
That's clean.
That's cleaner. Okay, so this will be my last meeting as chair. So the next item to discuss is update the DCTA contractual mobility services, Frisco Paratransit Capel Workforce Mobility and Alliance Lib Program. I didn't get off that easy, I guess. Maurice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members of the board. I get the honor of being able to present to you a lot of recommendations here surrounding our mobility services and demand response services, which I mentioned to you earlier. Mr. Thompson, our senior manager of mobility services and demand response services, is going to be overseeing. Each of these items are here. These are the recommendations for the board's approval. I won't go through each and every single item here, but I will share with you some details of some statistics and, of course, the growth that we have experienced since providing these services. As you can see here, we have multiple agreements, some of which are task orders and some of which are actual ILAs surrounding Irving Holdings, as well as the City of Frisco Paratransit, Alliance Zip Zone, and Capel Workforce Mobility. You can see over here for the course of FY23, we have billed roughly $1 million in services, and excuse me, 1,000, yeah, no, 1 million, it's 1 million, excuse me. And we've actually collected over 872 in services alone for the course of this year. The reason for the difference is, of course, this does not include receiving the billing for, or the revenue for the month of August yet. We're still waiting for that to come in, so that's where you see the difference here. Right now, from a service profile, we are actually increasing in the City of Frisco, and Irving Holdings is our main provider there, along with ourselves as also providing the service. You can see there's been over a 39% increase in actual registered riders, as well as a 62% increase in active riders during the course of the last fiscal year. The actual, I'm going to try and use this cursor here for FY23, the light green, I'm going to say, we are getting ourselves back up to where we were in FY20. So those numbers continue to grow, and there's definitely some interest with it expanding over the course of the next year. This is another view of the service profile. We have services that we provide with our vehicles, which I shared with you previously. We have 2 vehicles we provide for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as well as an ambulatory taxi service provided by Irving Holdings. That is Monday through Friday. That's primarily doing ambulatory service. You can see some of the ridership here with respect to medical being the #1 requested service and destination, to where we have, of course, shopping and education following up on the back end from the lowest. So again, this shows some of the aspect of the service and how it's being utilized. And as we move further into it, we can see these are some of the destinations where some of the destinations, 11% of them, are outside of the City of Frisco. The top 10 destinations range from Rental Center in Frisco all the way through Walmart, Kmart, or Circle K, excuse me. So there's a lot of workforce utilization here for the City of Frisco. 71% of the trips are within the City of Frisco. So did I just date myself with that?
I was like, wow, that was a rollback, man.
Yeah, I could have said something else, but I'm dating myself. So yeah.
Who likes that?
So here, the trip request profile, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays are greater with vehicle availability. Again, when you're looking at the light green there for the month of August, that light green represents Friday, and you're also looking at blue, which represents Monday. So those are the days of the week we see the most ridership. But in the middle of the week, it's Wednesday, as well as Tuesday and Thursday that are seeing some decent numbers, but they're staying a little low. Over here, the average trip requests per hour, we see a peak during the periods of, whoops, go back. We see the peaks during the periods of 9 to noon, and then again, going back up between 2 and 4. That's very consistent with any form of ADA or non-ADA service. And so, yes, we are trying to beef ourselves up in order to prepare for more growth in those areas. Again, these are trip requests by day and by mobility. Ambulatory is the largest that we have that we're currently transporting, where you see walkers, coming up in the second, and then of course wheelchairs and oversized wheelchairs following up there. This is pretty consistent as well. This number seems to stay steady. We haven't seen too much of a gap. As we start to transition into another software, we believe we'll be able to show a little bit more as we make tweaks, and Mr. Thompson does his expertise in this field. Again, here with the demand profile, you can see that we are running close to over 800 in trips requested, and the largest area of those trips requested are no-shows and also trip denials. This is a challenge in our area, and this is a focus that we've actually started to address, is how we manage this. And the cancellations and no-shows also play a major impact in how we are providing the service, because that increases the denials when you look at the actual reservations. There's going to be a focus from our agency, is working with, of course, our providers to make sure that we are managing this for the city of Frisco, so we can increase the utilization of the service and have that increase in actual ridership based on eliminating the late cancellations and no-shows. Here, this is the evolution. I shared this with you a few months back when we were looking at a new software in Spare. That was agreed, and we are in the process of implementing that software now. Originally, I shared with you the actual current trips and how we're billing for that, which again, I referenced earlier, the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of the utilization of our vehicles and staff. What you see down here at the bottom, you're also seeing what is proposed for future services. The idea for this is, again, to bring back our resources for our member cities and contract out the actual services we've been providing to other providers in that space, that TNC space. Right now, it's primarily Yellow Cab, which is known as Irving Holdings, but we will be looking at other modes to be able to help provide the services. This move will also allow our customers to be able to make book trips via an app. But right now, currently, they have to call it in, make reservations online, but now doing it via the app will add some more flexibility for them. But in addition, it also provides us more utilization, more coverage during the course of the day for these individuals, therefore providing more flexible service for the city. The other portion of this service is the Compel last mile. This has been ongoing since 2019. And as you can see here, the ridership numbers back in 2021, October 21, was at 250. We have grown to roughly 257 after going through a low period over the course of the last 2 fiscal years. This trip, of course, so this service is provided by employers for, of course, employees where they're able to book from the app. And again, providing flexibility for the city of Compel. Last on this list is the Trinity Metro Alliance Zip Zone. This is another one that seems to be growing exponentially. I'm probably messing up on the word there, I apologize. But this zone, of course, is in a partnership with Trinity Metro. This is also an opportunity for us to be taking a look at our North Texas Express service, because as we see here, that we're seeing an increase in ridership, and we're also having the ability of being able to map out how we can better perform and connect both cities together. Right now, Trinity Metro is in the process of trying to create a new transit center north of Keller, getting close to Alliance. And so there's some opportunities of working with them on how we provide this service, as well as making more flexibility for the customers between both cities. So with that, we go back to these recommendations for board approval. Each one of these here are very important to what we've been doing over the last few years, and of course to our growth as DCTA, and this is our approval for the board. Our recommendations to the board. So thank you.
So this is,
Maurice, could you put the other slide back?
I think this is an action item, and we probably need to. We have a package, basically a package of recommendations for approval. We could take this all as one package. Do I need to read this for the public? Or should
The
The-
3 through 8,
RA 03 all the way through RA 08?
yes.
Okay. Let me just go ahead and read it so everybody's clear what we're, and public's clear what we're considering. Recommendation number 3, consider approval for the First Amendment and restated interlocal agreement with the city of Frisco for transit services for an amount not to exceed $400,000 for a period of 1 year beginning October 1st, 2023 and continuing through September 30th, 2024, and authorizing the CEO to execute such agreement. Recommendation number 4, RA number 4, consider approval of extension of contract 17-03 and contract 17-27 with Irving Holdings Incorporated and task order number 4.4 with Irving Holdings Incorporated for Frisco Transportation Services in the amount of $72,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning on October 1st, 2023, and continuing through September 30th, 2024. Recommendation number 5, consider approval of the Fourth Amendment and restated interlocal agreement with the city of Capel for mobility services in the amount of not to exceed $50,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning on October 1st, 2023, and continuing to September 30th, 2024, and authorizing the CEO to execute such agreement. Recommendation number, that was 5. This was recommendation number 6. Consider approval of the extension of master agreement 17-03 for on-demand rideshare service with Lyft beginning on October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. And task order number 17 with Lyft for Capel Lyft services in an amount not to exceed $28,125. Recommendation number 7, consider approval of the amendment to the interlocal agreement with Trinity Metro for Alliance Lyft services in an amount not to exceed $570,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning on October 1st, 2023 and continuing through September 30th, 2024, and authorizing the CEO to execute such agreement. Recommendation number 8, consider approval of task order number 15 with Lyft beginning on October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024 for Alliance Zip Zone service in amount not to exceed $475,000. Board, this is the recommendations that we are considering. Is there any discussion on these recommendations?
Chair, just a comment on this. I think as part of our discussions for this next year, what are we doing with this? What's the goal? And, you know, what does the board see as the vision? I mean, we've seen DART's attempt at this, which has not worked. It hasn't brought anybody onto their platform. We know that the transit authorities need to work together. We know that the COG has an interest in seeing these services continue to be deployed. We know that Frisco and McKinney have now gotten, and I forget the 3-letter acronym that the feds use, but they have their own transit bubble that they can access.
The UZA.
Yeah, so they can access federal funds, or somebody like us can access federal funds for them. I think this is probably something that we really need to drill down on and create a vision for how do we go about and what is our end goal? I mean, is our end goal, I mean, we generated roughly $185,000 in revenue, which helps offset our costs for the county and for our residents, but is one of the goals to allow members of DCTA to maybe travel to some of these cities for resources, and should that funding help offset that? I don't know. I think there's a huge opportunity for conversation, and how long we continue to do this. I don't know if I want to continue to do it for $184,000 worth of revenue, but I definitely want to be figuring out how we can get Collin County on board and maybe create more opportunity for the agency and residents of Denton County than we do today. That's my only comment on this. Other than that, I'm fine with the recommendations from staff.
Further discussion?
If there's no, I don't want to interrupt any comments from the board, but I would like I think what you raise is a really good point. And, you know, these services have kind of been launched on an ad hoc as needed basis. We've worked over the course of the last year to bring them to the forefront so that we can look at them on one screen and then ask this question, what are we doing with this? So thank you. I'm glad that you asked. The idea of DCTA's role as a leader in the region for transit and public mobility is an important one for the board to consider and would be a topic of conversation in this January strategic workshop that we're talking about. What we're seeing across the region in places like Frisco and in other places in Collin County is workforce mobility is a really big opportunity that microtransit provides. Some of the recent exhibits we put together for the city of Highland Village show that use of microtransit for people who live in Louisville, for instance, to be moving into for trips into the Highland Village zone along the 407 commercial corridor, all that sort of stuff. That gives us really a really clear picture of what we've all thought could happen. Now, how do we take that model and apply it the right way towards the east in these other contracted service areas that we're providing? As this board has also said, we want to take on the Collin County Ride Service for a time until we can do this. And so that's a long way around the barn to say we need to articulate that vision and have a discussion on that in January as we think about long range service planning. But as the Metroplex grows northward, microtransit is the opportunity to introduce public transit into these places and gather the data that's needed to make decision about what it looks like in the future.
Any other discussion on this item? There's none. I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval.
Motion, and we have a second. Any other discussion on the item? If not, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now proceed to item 1, 2, 3, 4. This basically covers item 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way through 9. Okay. Item 9, discuss and consider November 2023 and December 23 board meeting dates.
I'm sorry, Chairman, you need to have a vote on each one of
You
those
want me-
items.
You want me now to walk through
I'm
individually?
sorry, yes.
Okay,
Consider them together, but vote on each one individually.
okay. Thank you. So now let me go to item 3 then, and on item 3, it's consider approval of the first amendment and restated interlocal agreement with the city of Frisco for transit services for an amount not to exceed $400,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning October 1st, 2023, and continuing through September 30th, 2024, and authorizing the chief executive officer to execute such agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Stereo.
Who wants the motion?
Give it to the judge.
Director Eads, motion, seconded by Vice Chair Gilmore. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, consider approval of the extension of contract 17-03 and contract 17-27 with Irving Holdings Incorporated and task order 4.4 with Irving Holdings for Frisco Transportation Services in the amount of $72,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning October 1st, 2023, and continuing through September 30th, 2024. Do I have a motion on that item?
So moved.
We got a
Second.
motion by Director McGuire, second by Vice Chair Gilmore. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, consider approval for the Fourth Amendment and restated interlocal agreement with the City of Capel for mobility services in the amount not to exceed $50,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning October 1st, 2023, and continuing through September 30th, 2024, and authorizing the Chief Executive Officer to execute such agreement. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Motion by Director McGuire, second by Vice Chair Gilmore. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, consider approval of the extension of Master Agreement 17-03 for on-demand rideshare services with Lyft beginning on October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024 with task order number 17 with Lyft for Capel Lyft services in amount not to exceed $20,125. Do I have a motion?
Motion for approval?
Motion by Director McGuire,
Second.
second by Vice Chair Gilmore. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, consider approval of an amendment for the interlocal agreement with Trinity Metro for Alliance Lift Services in the amount not to exceed $570,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning October 1st, 2023, and continuing through September 30th, 2024, and authorize the Chief Executive Officer to execute such agreement. Do I have a motion for this item?
Motion for approval?
Motion by Director McGuire,
Second.
second by Vice Chair Gilmore. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8. Consider approval of task order number 15 with Lyft beginning on October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024 for Alliance Zip Zone services in the amount not to exceed $475,000. Do I have a motion for this item?
Motion for approval?
Motion by Director McGuire. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Gilmore. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9. Discuss and consider November 2023 and November 2023 and December 2023 board meeting dates. Paul, Christina.
Thank you very much. This agenda item is intended to gain board direction on the board meeting calendar for the remainder of the year. The memo in your packet contains the information. We are looking for direction on the plan for our November and December board meeting. I don't believe this actually has a motion or an approval to be made. It's just direction. I'll look at the background on the memo for item number 9. It says Article 3, Section 6 of the bylaws state the board shall hold at least one regular meeting a month and special meetings can be called as necessary. In 2021, the board opted to combine in 2022, the board opted to combine the November and December board meetings, and we did that meeting on December 1st, 2022. If we opted to do the same course of action this year, the board meeting could be conducted in a combined November-December board meeting on December 7th. If the board opts not to combine November and December board meetings, we will need to schedule a new November board meeting because the current meeting is scheduled for November 23rd on Thanksgiving Day. And then the December board meeting would be held on Thursday, December 28th, 2023. And so, like I said, looking for direction on either the combination of the November and December board meeting on Thursday, November 30th or December 7th, or a new meeting date in November and scheduling the December board meeting on December 28th, 2023.
Okay. So in the past, we've tried to do one meeting, typically it's that first Thursday in December. We could do the November 30th. Is there any preference from the board?
I could do either.
I can do,
I can do either.
right now, I can do. Yeah, I mean, I have it blocked, so I can do either. Okay, all in favor of November 30th, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
3, okay, you got 3. November 30th.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Keisha, anything else we need to cover on this one for you? Okay, thank you very much.
Great. All right, discuss local and regional updates and legislative issues. I can tell you on the regional issues at the RTC that the the one that's been kind of pressing for DART and to us would be the proposed transit study that's being pushed forward by COG. It will be run by the transportation team and under Michael Morris. We will be involved to some extent, as I think all three transit agencies are being asked to participate in it. I don't have any other things. Do you have any other things to share, Paul, or anybody else on the board?
Secretary Costa asked if I could just take a look at what those proposed work tasks are. I did attend a meeting with the transit director or transportation directors at the COG of the week or last week. This was all of the transit agencies represented, plus other transportation organizations in the region, like North Texas Tollway Authority, the TxDOT districts in Dallas and Fort Worth, so on and so forth, where this was introduced for discussion. The study overall is looking at 7 tasks, and the RTC will have the chance to approve this, I think, in their upcoming meeting. The first item is around a legislative program that the region could pursue together, opportunities to increase membership in transit agencies, finding ways to get cost savings amongst the 3 transit agencies, DART, DCTA, and Trinity Metro, finding opportunities to create infill development or transit-oriented development at transit hubs, looking for opportunities for the boards of directors amongst the transit agencies to work more closely together, finding ways to find cohesion amongst fare structures among the transit agencies in the region, and then the just general budget understanding about how transit funding works in the region, all that sort of thing. From my perspective, I think what I shared in that meeting was we, DCTA, have done a lot of work over the course of the last several years. This board has done a lot of work over the course of the last several years to deliver the right service as efficiently as possible for the people of our service area, and we are happy to provide those lessons learned and expertise to help others do the same thing. And so I look forward to representing DCTA in these conversations that will come up at the staff level.
Any other discussions on this item or anything else related to legislative issues?
Just to piggyback onto Mr. Christina's comments, I had the opportunity to talk with Mayor Munns, Mayor Stouffer, and Mayor Babick, and reiterated the points that, you know, we are more than happy to be an agency in support and to give them our feedback from what we've learned. We are not interested in redigging and going through and having auditors and all sorts of folks impacting our staff and their time. They need to be focused on putting all our plans in place. I think that message was clearly accepted. And I think that they completely understand our position and are glad to have our input.
Anything else on local, regional updates and legislative issues? If not, go ahead.
I thought the luncheon last Friday with, what was it called? The
Transit Coalition of North Texas.
Transit Coalition in North Texas. Y'all all our alphabet soup. But I wanted to say, I thought that was great. It was good to see our leaders in transportation. Y'all did a good job. And Paul, I would commend you. Y'all did a great presentation and update. It was good to see all the entities working together in the spirit of unity. And I thought that was great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes item 10. Next, we have information reports. We have the August 2023 Safety Service and Ridership Reports. We also have the Denton County Sheriff's Officers Interlocal Agreement for Enforcement Services, update on the Intermediate Service Plan, intended Go Zone data with the Connect Network, and updates on the 2024 Strategic Planning Sessions. There is any issues on that. We can move on. Future agenda items and board member requests. Is there any future board member requests?
I think I got mine in earlier.
You got your
today.
in earlier? Okay. We probably, I will put this out, we probably do need with a change of officers. At the next meeting, the new chair will probably have to determine who's gonna be the DRMC representative, who's gonna be the RTC representative. I know with Secretary Costa stepping down, I mean, that creates an immediate opening, so she was the primary member, so anyway, that's something we probably need to have as a future board discussion.
Keisha, if you could pull that list of all the different boards and services that Ms. Costa was on, that'd be great.
Let's see, our next regular board meeting is on October 26, 2023. That takes us then a report on items of community interest. Pursuant to Texas Government Section 551.0415, the Board of Directors may report on the following items: expressions of thanks, congratulations, or condolences, information about the holiday schedules, recognitions of individuals, reminders about upcoming DCTA and member city events, information about community events, announcements involving immediate threats, and public health and safety. I'll start. I do want to express the condolences from the board to former mayor of the colony, John Dillard, passed away a few days ago, and just keeping his family in our prayers. Any other? Yes, Director.
Yeah, thanks. There are two community events coming up that DCTA is involved in. The State Fair Texas starts tomorrow in Dallas. And if you purchase your State Fair ticket for $25 through DCTA, we will throw in a regional pass to get you all the way down there. You will have to transfer to DART and take the green line. But I can testify it's a quick and easy trip. My kids love it every year. So if you visit dcta.net, there's just a pop-up that'll take you straight to where you can purchase your ticket and also get your free regional pass. And then Arts and Jazz in Denton is October 6th, 7th, and 8th. And it's a free event. It's a wonderful event. I encourage everyone to go. But please know that parking is a nightmare. You will not be able to park anywhere near, but the A train goes right downtown, and it's a free zone between Med Park and downtown. So if you live in the vicinity of Med Park, you can park there and take the train for free to downtown Denton for Arts and Jazz.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, just want to mention in Highland Village, beginning Saturday, October 7th, we will have our Concert in the Park series, and that'll be on the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. If you were traveling from Louisville or Denton, it is an easy train ride to get you there to Doubletree Ranch Park. The 21st is actually our Fallen Officers event, which is a fundraiser to go to the families of fallen officers. And Highland Village is one of the biggest raisers of those funds across the state of Texas. So there's a 5K in the morning, a bike race, bike ride in the afternoon, and a concert that night. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Any other items?
I've got a couple, if you don't mind, Chair. So this Friday begins Louisville's Western Days. I want to thank DCTA for their participation. The way Western Days works is if you get there before 5 p.m., there is no entrance fee. If you get there at 5:01 or later, there is an entrance fee. It's $15, but we have a great slate of country Western bands. I do want to thank council member and of course my alternate here, Kristen Green, for volunteering. She will be at Western Days from 6 to 6:30 at the dunk tank. So so it's $1 a throw, and you are more than welcome. What I'd recommend, come in just before 5, take the $15 you were gonna spend and just go ahead and spend that on Kristen. It is actually generating funds for our friends over at Serve Louisville. So that's how that's all going to work. And then I can't think there's anything else after that. I'm pretty sure that that's just.
The mayor is going right after me in the dunk tank
Fair,
So-
okay, but yeah, I mean, spend your money on Kristen. I mean, she'd like the bragging rights, I'm sure. Fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, I'll be there from 6:30 to 7 in the dunk tank. And then that following day, Saturday, of course, we have Western Days all day Saturday, and I am the honorary chair for CCA's 50th anniversary 5K. So if you're interested in doing a morning jog, or as I may do, a morning stroll, as well as pancake breakfast, we will be meeting in front of CCA in Old Town that morning. So you can get more information by going to CC Christian Community Action CCA's website and sign up for the 5K or come cheer us on. So that's Friday and Saturday.
Any other items of community events from any of the other members? Okay. With that, we'll move into executive session. We do have an executive session item today, I believe. Yes. So pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.072, real property, board of directors will convene in closed executive session to discuss real property located at 655 East Main Street, Louisville, Texas, 75057. So that can only have the appropriate staff and then the voting members and their alternates. Okay, it is 11:07. We are adjourned from executive session. And we will take any actions from executive session. Board, we have a action to authorize the CEO to extend the Second Amendment to the lease agreement for the property located at 655 East Main Street, Louisville, Texas. Is there a motion to provide such direction?
Second.
We have a motion by Director Eads, got a second by Vice Chair Gilmore. All those in favor of providing direction? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Carries. You have your direction, Mr. CEO.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, it is now 11:08 a.m. and we will adjourn the Denton County Board of Directors meeting. Thank you all very much.
Okay, Dean.